What the deal, my good peoples? What's the deal? Tap in. True Fat Guy. Top of the morning to you, especially for being first. What's going on? What's going on? I'm trying to see if my good brother Tafashe is going to fall in with me because I know we said last time I want to have him up on stage. So I'm trying to tap in right now. Hopefully he, send it up. So yeah. What's good? True Fat Guy, man. I'm in the building, man. I'm feeling a little better today. I did relatable in the morning, so I felt good then. But started going into some other stuff. But shout out to Mickey Knox. Mickey Knox is definitely in the building. What's the problem with it? Tap in. Wait for people to fall in. Yes, sir. Well, while y'all here, good morning. Welcome to Homeroom, the show where we talk about pop culture, hot topics, and everything in between before your days get rolling. This is your space to laugh, think, and let your hair down. So grab a seat, get your coffee, do whatever you need to do. Let's settle in and let's get to it. Let's get it. Yeah, man, I appreciate that, man. Real talk. You know what I'm saying? Okay, you are feeling good, huh, Mickey? You feeling good this morning? Relax, a little bit of relaxed feel, a little kicking back. You working? What you doing? Just hanging out, enjoying life's little delicacies right now. I didn't even ate this morning. I'll be kind of low key. I'll be low key cranky without breakfast. But I had to make my time here because I got to. I can't push it back. I got to make my time here. Oh, work at 12:30. Okay, all good. Had to make my time here, and keep coming back. This is my dedication is about. So let me hold on. Let me check Instagram real quick. Hey, Mickey? What you do for a living, bro? Or what you doing for work right now? Let me not say what you do for a living. What you doing for work right now? Let me tap in Instagram, man. Oh shoot! I didn't mean for that to be on. Sorry. Let me see. All right. East Coast, only thing. Oh well, I'll be forgetting that. That I'm talking to people in different places other than where I am. Um. Okay. Yeah, that's not a pocket. You you ain't had a coffee or nothing, or you did some coffee and kush this morning, or just some just some of that good tree. Oh, we're a warehouse machine operator. That's dope. You know what, man? I wish you know, as you look back on your life, and well, depending on your age, you can't be in the 20s looking back in your life, but in your 40s, you tend to look back in your life sometime. You feel like sometimes you think like what you could have done. Not like I would have changed major things in my life, but I always think about like some of the cool things that I look at now. Like I wish I would have learned how to play an instrument, or I wish I'd have learned how to operate something like a crane or a forklift or something like that. I wish I'd have learned welding, or I wish I would have learned like something that like is a real true skill and never really leaves you. And for the things I just named, it's almost like a job forever in those departments, right? Even with AI, robotics, and stuff like that, whatever, it's still like good to learn these things. Yeah, you feel me? Like I would love to have learned. I remember when I used to work at I was working at the oil refinery, right? I was a fire watch and hole watch, and they was talking about the welders there and the crane operators, and so as a fire watch operator, that's like the low man on the totem pole, and you still make way more money than the average 9 to 5 worker, right? Now the hours are crazier too, but it's only for like maybe sometimes you'll be on the job for like a month, 2 months, 3 months at the longest per se, like every turnaround, right? You can make a lot of money doing that as a fire watch and hole watch, which is, like I said, low man on the totem pole. But when I found out what the welders were making, and I found out what the crane operators were making, fam, you just want to go to sleep. It's like, why am I here? Welders making like at start 70, 80 bucks an hour. Like, crane operators, forget it. Like, and so there was one, I remember we used to work at this oil refinery. And I don't know if y'all, well, for those who are from LA, off the 110, off of by what's that? Off of PCH, off of PCH, off the 110. You pass that big oil refinery. Well, that oil refinery was called Phillips 66, if I'm not mistaken. And they used to have this huge crane on standby because I think what they were doing, it was just at one part of the oil refinery was this big cap on top of this building. It's like a big ass cap. It was like huge, and they needed like one of the biggest cranes. So, as I was told, it's the biggest crane in North America. It was that Phillips 66, and a huge crane. It was a guy who would be in there sleep like every day. He would just be sitting in the crane sleep. And when they need to remove that cap, it's a huge job safety. So it's such a serious thing that when they need to remove the cap, they send everybody home for the day, right? Like you could be working. If they need to remove that cap, everybody go home for the day. You got to check out. Like they don't want nobody like in that part of the refinery at all. They all go home. That's how serious of a job it is if something bad were to happen. But when I found out he was making like 1,000 a day, couple thousand a day, and out of the month I was there, I saw him move that thing one time. He was there daily, sleep, and then, or you might see him eating lunch. But he in the crane. He wasn't outside of it. He was just chilling in the front seat, crane, mostly sleep for the most of the time. I seen him move that cap one time. One time we had to go home, and he was making thousands a day because he was operating that huge crane. Pause. But I was like, nigga, why didn't I learn that? He is chilling. Like, fam, he was doing no work. And mind you, if you do move it, that's a serious job. So it's not like it's a punk ass job. It's a real job. If you got to really have your skill to operate something that big and move something that big. Pause, right? But at that point, like it's rarely being moved, bro. You collecting cash racks daily, just chilling, right? Man's just balling, just about chilling, and you be thinking like, why didn't I learn that? It ain't like it's like being a doctor where you got to go to school for 10 years. Fam, you can go learn how to be a crane operator and a forklift operator inside a year. If I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, and really make a lot of money depending on the gig. You know what I mean? Because it's a skill. Everybody don't do it. Everybody don't learn welding. In my class, when I started to be a fire watch and hole watch, I remember me and my wife was in the class, and they were at the whole class. It was like maybe 20 of us, 30 of us, and maybe 4 people was in there trying to learn how to weld. Well, they was just got their little whatever papers to start welding, whatever they were doing. But anyway, they were in their welding training for welding. And I'm like, damn. See? You say, look, my man Mickey Knox say, you right, you on site for training for 4 months, fam. 4 months. And think about how much stuff you dedicated your life to when it could have been that. You know what? Actually, now that we're talking about it, it's almost like even now, you know how you ever watch, you can be on Instagram or you may be talking to somebody or you're on social media and somebody's over there telling you like, yo, you could take free cybersecurity courses on Google. Right now, Google got tons of free jobs on Google that teach cybersecurity in one form or another, like different jobs, but inside of cybersecurity. Free right now on Google. Right now, you can Google that right now and see. And you can take cybersecurity courses right now and be damn near done in some months and have a certification and everything and the knowledge to do it. And you talking about you can learn, you can be potentially earning inside a couple of years $100,000, couple $100,000 a year, depending on how far you go, right? And it's free right now on Google. Right now, you can get free cybersecurity jobs right now. They're free right now. and we just interested in what we're interested in. I'm so focused because I'm only talking about this because I actually like looked it up one day, checked, went to go see like the process, started taking one test and kind of just blanked out and did some other shit, whatever. But I'm so into like content creating, photography, and my new gig I just picked up, and I'm driving Uber all the damn time. So I never really just took the time out to do that. But if I would have just did it, it'd have been done. And financially, I could potentially be in a way better situation than I'm in right now. Right? Do I regret it? A little bit, but not, it's a lesson. It's a lesson that I'm learning and trying to tell myself, like, damn, But what I am focused on, I'm hard up for it. Pause. So it's just a lesson, right? So that's what I'm telling myself to, get better with that. Stick to watching still since number, but yeah, it's hard out here because I know a couple of my friends like been applying for jobs, and though people are telling you a lot of people are getting laid off and a lot of people are hiring, it's a lot of ghost resume things, like resume kind of like, I don't know if y'all know, but I got friends who've been applying to tons of jobs, right? And say if you apply to like 20 jobs, and then 3 people may hit you back like, I'm sorry, this spot has been taken. This spot has been we filled the position already, or I'm sorry for whatever reason. Because jobs usually typically at least hit you back and let you know that the position was filled if you didn't get the position. Position was filled or something, whatever. They let you notify you that you can stop worrying about this thing and go try to do something else, right? Um, but but what I was about to say, I started reading this text and forgot. What I was just saying, I forgot what I was just saying. My mind went blank. I be thinking about too much stuff. Oh, word. Hey, man, Rich Religion, I didn't know that. Yo, do we follow each other on Instagram? I have a whole photography page. Oh. Oh, shit. Oh, I didn't even check the text. My bad. Got the shower head back to, I have to shower at the gym so you can 50 minutes. Okay, bad. My bad, Tafache. I see your message. Um, yeah, let me hold up. Follow my page, bro. I didn't know that. I fell in love with photography, bro, fam. It seemed like nothing else in life mattered. I mean, I'm being a little extra out, but that's how much I love it. This is my page. I'm gonna put it in the chat right here. Yeah, man. I do photography and I'm learning how to do videography right now. Kind of like, you see, tap in with people. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm trying to learn how to get it. Just get better at it, filming and things like that. Whatever. That's why I like doing vlogs because I get to like learn how to edit on my own and kind of like just picking it up as I see things, or maybe a YouTubing certain like transitions and cuts and edits, and I'm kind of like picking it up. You know. Um. So yeah. Follow my page. Check me out. I'm gonna follow you back. Man, I love photography, bro. Let me see. All right. Texting my man real quick. Let me see. All right. Hey, so look, so I was thinking about doing that. So where'd you go to school, or how was the process of school? And was it expensive? Was it like a long process? What was the process? Because though I've learned a lot of things just hands-on experience, right? I still want to know the technical things, technical side of photography, like the little things I should know technically. I'm just kind of figuring it out. So I've been doing it for like 2 or 3 years, and I'm pretty good at it. I would say people say I'm pretty good at it, and I love it. But there's the technical things I know I could have got from school that I just didn't get on my own. And I would like to go to school to learn for both. What's the process? Where you take classes? Like I said, was it expensive? Was it not? I don't know. Yeah, I need to learn that. And I'm trying to wait for Tafashe to tap in too because I want to talk about something specifically. And I kind of glossed over it, but maybe in a different kind of way. I know people have been really going and back and forth about the Young Thug situation and telling and hating on Kendrick and all these things. But I want to talk about. I want to approach it from a different kind of perspective on how I view what's actually going on and the temperature of today's climate as far as quote unquote street nigga or quote unquote real nigga from whatever, So, this if you already have equipment, financial aid, equipment. Is this something I could just Google, or do you have like a reference for like a school, or what is it like? Do I just Google something? Cause where would I even financial aid? Like where would I even go? Is it LA Trade Tech or like a photography school around here that just somebody would you refer me? Basically, if you have a referral, because I do want to check that out. I really want to take a photography course. Excuse me. And I'm gonna start this thing in a second, man. I appreciate y'all patience. Oh, you went Riverside? Okay, okay. And you felt like it helped you greatly. Did you do the same thing for videography school, or you kind of took that? You kind of learned that on your own. Shout out to my man Austin, who's a photographer, a dope photographer and director. That's my guy right there. I'm gonna check. I'm gonna check on that, man. I appreciate that because you just reminded me actually to tap in and check on that. Hey, Austin, are you by a computer? You at home? You by a computer? You want to get on live with me real quick? I'm gonna send this link to my boy Austin real quick. Talk about some film stuff or photography shit. I'm about to send you this link. You can tap in from your laptop or phone, whatever you want to do. But yeah, man. And see, film is like you know what the thing is, man? I want to do so many things. It's not like how some people have like this one thing they want to do, they may have a dream gig or something of the sort where it's like somebody wants to play basketball, they want to go to the NBA, or somebody love photography so much they want to do, just be a photographer, whatever. Like I want to do hella things, and I don't want to just do one thing. Like I love photography, I love making videos. I would love to make a short film one day. I'm gonna just actually try to make one on my own. For like as far as whatever my concept idea of how to shoot a short film, I want to make that with my editing skills, my color grade, my lighting, which I'm not good at none of those things in my opinion. I could be better at all those things, and I just want to shoot something like a short film, just to say I did it, and not just to say I did it. I want to obviously to say I did it, but also because I'm interested, and I'm a fan of film. I love cinema, and I love watching movies, and I love, you know what I mean. So I think that'd be dope if I could shoot something like a short film, and then hell, like that's how you learn from your mistakes, right? You kind of make it, you put it out there, and then you watch it and like, okay, I could have did that better. I could have did that better. Maybe I'll tap in with some of my trusted sources. You know what I mean? Be like, what y'all think about this? What can I do better? How do you like the script? Or is there a better way I could have told that story? Right? I think I want to come at it from that way also. Um, yeah, I think I want to do that. That'd be fire. You know what I mean? That'd be fire. I want to make a film, a short film. That's gonna be a start because I go crazy trying to shoot a whole little film and I don't know what I'm doing at all. At least a short film, I can make it in a couple of minutes, and then there's a start, a middle part, and a finish. There's you know what I mean, and then be like, all right, we start here, But let me see this. My man. Oh no. Send a link to a couple. Hold up. Bam. Where's Tafashe? Okay. All right. Yeah, man. I think it'll be dope too. And I would love to like play it here. Actually, it'd be dope if I shot the film and then played it on like a homeroom or like a relatable, because it'll be a short film, so it'll only run might be maybe 3 minutes, 5 minutes, right? That's enough time to not interrupt the whole podcast or show, but actually short enough to where we all can watch it and then give our actual opinions on what you just saw. Knowing I'm new to it, I'm up for the criticism because I'm new to it. It'll be my first, so I know I'm not Spike Lee with or Ryan Coogler, like, so. You know what I mean? I just know that I think I can do it, and then I'll learn from there, and then maybe get better, and then maybe eventually one day do a full on, like, you know what I mean? Hey, wait, what do you mean? Why why you say that? A lot of quote unquote eclectic folk in the classes. He said, "Beware, though." See, man. I think I'm gonna do a fighting depression tonight. Also, what time should I do that? Maybe like 5. Maybe 5 p.m. Pacific time. I think I'm gonna do a fighting depression. Been dealing with a lot lately, and I think I want to talk to some people. Got it. Hey, Rich Religion, man, you gotta chill, bro. You gotta chill, family. K Active, my good brother, my brother in Christ. What's good with it, man? How you doing, man? My original Diamond Lane member, my brother K Active. My first record with Diamond Lane ever officially was at my brother K Active's house in Inglewood when they first gave me the D hat. Paul. See, my brother. Put my brother Austin in here one time.
Yo.
What's good, man? How you doing?
Dude, I'm just working on this trailer, man. Just editing.
It's for a new gig you got? Oh, the trailer.
Yeah. I'm just trying to figure out the first section of this narrative part, and then I'm good to go.
Yo, it'd be dope when we start showing the trailer. I would love to go live and show it. Talk about it a little bit, right? I think,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that'd be dope if all of us went live, wouldn't it? If we went live
It would be.
and I
It would
had,
be.
it would be you, Sticks, Bam, Kareem, you Sticks back. Oh, Richie. Who else? That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that would be super dope. And then we all talk about like the process, and then maybe show the trailer. So what y'all don't know is I did a pilot. We did a pilot. It's my director. First of all, it's one of my best friends in the world, my man Austin. And Austin is also an incredible, like I said, incredible director and photographer. And we shot a pilot that was pretty fucking awesome, actually. And so he's editing with the trailer. He's talking about he's editing the trailer now. Now nobody's seen it other than like my wife or his fiance. But I'm excited to what we've built. I got a couple of good friends in it. Some people you may recognize for sure, and it's dope, man. It's a really dope situation. I'm not gonna talk about the plot or anything right now at this moment, but I can't wait to show y'all the pilot. And I was just telling them how I had like I can't do. I'm so interested in so many things. It's hard to focus on one thing, right? Now I don't want to spread myself too thin, but also I like a bunch of things, right? I like,
Yeah.
yo, me and you talk daily. So, I talked to Austin about my newfound love for watches. I'm always talking about
Hmm.
watches with Austin. Um, I don't know a lot of my friends who smoke cigars. Me and Austin, we partake in cigars. Um, we talk. So I'm learning a lot because I was really interested in learning. My dad was in a jazz. Well, my dad been in jazz his whole entire life, and I remember my dad playing jazz a lot in the car. And as I was going through all my early '90s and 2000 rap phase, everything, I was hip hop out for my whole life. So once I got older, you get to a level where your ears start to change and the sound that you want to hear changes, then jazz started calling me essentially. Because I remember my dad playing that and jazz started calling me. So Austin is one of the guys I tapped into, him being a huge fan of jazz himself, right? And he puts me on a lot of game about a lot of jazz musicians and different things of that nature, different songs. So yeah, man, it's pretty dope, man. I can't wait for
Yo,
y'all to see. You said what?
yeah, like, so I just rewatched that movie Platoon, and and then I watched a documentary on Platoon afterward, and they were interviewing Johnny Depp, and like while he was acting in it, he
Mm.
considered himself a musician, not an actor. It's like we all
Word.
have, yeah, he was like, I'm a musician first, and the acting part was like a afterthought at that point. And then even after, he still considered himself a musician because it wasn't necessarily like an immediate gig after. So I think as you get older, I think we all have those like original loves, and then we
Yeah.
all kind of fall into things that interest us or we were meant for as you get
Yeah.
older. So, I mean, I'm into everything. Like, I'm kind of just now rediscovering like country music and getting into bluegrass. And I
Word.
bought a guitar, I've been playing bluegrass. Like, it's okay to like a little bit of everything and dive into
I think
those
so. I agree.
interests.
I think I think
Because,
I think because there's your main thing. Okay, first of all, as humans, we have to work to live. There's that part, right? And so we work to live. There's that thing. And sometimes a lot of us get lucky enough or blessed enough to re- fall in love with the things that we do to live, right? So that's a plus, I would say. Um, so you have to do that. So so I got to do that. But then there's also the people who they're doing that thing to live. They don't necessarily hate it, but it's just a thing you got to do to live. It's just okay. It's a job thing, and then they find their
yeah,
hobbies outside of that, which gives them full on pleasure, right? And and then they get the joy from that way. I'm kind of like in the middle, right, where I'm trying to like I want to do these things. I'm a fan of film. So I was just telling them. I don't know if you heard if you was online then. Just tell them I want to learn how to shoot film. I want to do my first short film, and I'm a fan of photography. So I'm never going to stop shooting photography. And I'm also a fan of music, right? And as you know, I haven't sold them yet, so I'm not going to talk about details, but I'm back in music on the executive side, me and Sticks. So I've got to jump back in music with Sticks, and so I'm doing that also. So I'm trying to find ways to. I mean, eventually, and also I'm learning how to act in a sense. This is my first acting job, technically, with Austin, with this pilot we got. So I'm doing some creative things, and these things are going to turn out hopefully to be beneficial monetarily, also, right? Um, well, from a monetary standpoint, but also I think they're fueling my creative itch and that passion that we all have. Also, and I'm
yeah,
excited about that journey. I'm excited about that, but I also like it to where the work has nothing to do with the passion side. Like I can separate the
yeah.
two.
I
Like when
think
you talk about me and you, we
I
went
think,
to go
yeah,
chill one day recently and went to cigar bar. With cigar bar, uh, great sticks. We great sticks at the cigar bar. great conversation, funny meeting your man there. My man who was talking about his
Mark,
relationship. Yeah,
Mark.
talking to Mark, and then grabbing a great bite to eat down the street. Right, for me, that was the perfect day. For me, I was filled. You know what I mean? I was like, that was the perfect day. I'm chilling with my man, great conversation, smoked some great cigars, had a great bite to eat. Food was incredible, right? And I'm like, shit, my day is done. Awesome day. So I want to be able to do what I want to do to provide, take care of myself, and then where I have time to do more of that, what you and I
Yeah,
experience at the. So that's the goal for me. You
I
know what I
think
mean?
like okay, so I think like in terms of like for anyone listening that's like a creative, I think what gets lost in the conversation is like even when you're doing creative things in a commercial sense, like you're doing creative things to make money as like gigs or you have a client you're doing stuff, is like not every job is going to be artistically fulfilling. You're going to have stuff that you're going to do that you're at some point you're just like, ah, God, like
Right,
I'm just doing this job for the money. This is not artistically fulfilling for me. But it helps. And then you're gonna have jobs that like you get paid for and you have some say in some of the creative or a lot of the creative and it's fulfilling. Sometimes those jobs aren't the most fulfilling ones aren't the best paying ones, and sometimes the best paying ones you're just like, I'm copying what's on the storyboard. There's not a lot of input they need from me. I'm just kind of a body that says action and makes sure everything goes according to
right,
plan. Um,
right,
but the thing that helps is that if you do the jobs or you're doing jobs that you don't like, is to have a specific creative goal outside of the commercial work. So if you have a short film or you have something that you want to do specifically, it makes it easier to get through. But if you're
right.
doing these jobs to just pay bills or you don't have a specific goal outside of it that to push it, then it makes it extremely challenging mentally because at some even before the project you're just like, what am I doing? I don't want to do this. So you gotta have creative goals outside of it or other interests. It's like, okay, like I'm filming or I'm photographing or doing this job. I
Mhm.
have this other thing over here that I want to do. I want to like I had some jobs I did and I was like, okay, I want to buy this guitar because I want to like learn how to do bluegrass. So like, okay, cool. So there's a direct connection to like why I'm doing this. I can do that. And then,
Right.
so without connections and reasons, it makes it very challenging to get through it. Right. So that's part of the conversation too, which is why I think for me, I will leapfrog and connect everything as one creative universe of like, okay, I want to learn how to do music. It's just it's a creative muscle you have to exercise, but it's all interconnected to the other creative because this pays for that and that pays for this and I can do this and this and this. It's
Right.
almost like it's almost like a, you know what it reminds me of is like when you go to the gym and you create like a little circuit of like,
Hmm.
okay, you do like 10 reps
Yep.
here, 10 reps here,
Yep.
10 reps here, and
Yep.
you
Yep.
circle if you create your own creative circuit for yourself, it's such a healthy thing mentally because then what happens is throughout the day, you're like, okay, I want to do guitar a little bit here. I want to edit or I want to work on some of this. I want to do some photos. Then what happens is it occupies your mind all day. And then all of a sudden, the problems and the other things that are happening in your life throughout the day kind of disappear. And your mind is occupied by that circuit, creative circuit that you've created for yourself. So now your whole universe and daily life is just this creative, on a creative
Yeah.
cycle
Yeah.
and then it's like nothing else matters. Like politics don't matter. Like other issues don't matter. It's like I'm so happy doing my little circuit of creative stuff, and that's it's such a healthy cycle as a creative because then you're that muscle is always being worked without you even
Yeah.
like trying. It just happens, you know. So if you're into like you're into music and then it's like you pick your little creative circuit and then it occupies everything and then you realize like you're just happy all the time because you're just doing what you love
For
and then you
sure.
have like I said you have these gigs that you do that sometimes might overlap in that circuit and sometimes they don't but it's like as soon as it's done you're back in that circuit again so I think for you it's the same thing is like you're interested in so many things but the reality is like it's a healthy thing that you're on because then it's like okay well I kind of fell in love with this one and another one comes into that little cycle and then it
Yeah.
occupies your mind all day and that's what gets people through I've noticed that like when people don't engage themselves in creative things and create a little circuit for themselves, they start to get in their head too much. Start getting
Yeah.
lonely, or they get depressed, or
I feel like they're
they don't.
trapped in a sense.
Yeah, so it's good to, I think it's great to like find interest in a bunch of things to keep your mind occupied, because it leads to so many other things like friendships and other, skills and habits that are healthy, because you're just exploring things. For some people, it's
Right.
traveling. So, you know, but I think it's good to touch every little thing, because also it reinforces what you do like, and also reinforces what you don't like. If you're like, oh, I think I'm interested in this, you go do it, and you're just like, oh man, this is,
Right. Yeah.
I don't, what I did, and this can kind of circle back to like the photography conversation for you. Is like, there are some people that are interested in a certain topic, and then they romanticize the idea of what it is in their head, and they go explore it, and they realize, oh, wait a minute, this is actually hard work.
Yeah.
like, like for instance, playing guitar, you're just like, you pick it up and you're just like, I don't even know where to begin, and then you realize, but within an hour, you're just like, I hate this thing. But then you, but then you listen to music, you're like, I want to do
Yeah.
that. So so what's good about creating a circuit for yourself is you introduce things that you think are interesting. And then every single thing, the hardest part is like 0 to 1. 1 to 99 is the easy part, but it's getting to that first part of over the hump of like, out, this is actually a craft. This is a long history
Yep.
of people doing this. How much do I want to do this? And then at that point, you can decide, I'm actually not interested in this. Or you say, I love this so much, I'm going to challenge myself to overcome this
Yeah.
barrier. And that's part of the circuit too, is because it's full of challenges that just occupy your mind. Like, you could be working on one song on guitar for like weeks, and it's such a pain in your ass, but it's such a fun pursuit to try and overcome that, and it just leads to other like life lessons in your life.
For sure.
But for instance, for you, with you, photography, you didn't know anything about photography, and a lot of people don't necessarily. But once you like dive in, there's such a body of people of support and long history there. It's like you can't possibly like not stop. Like you got to keep going, and then
Right.
explore,
Right.
and you realize it's actually not that hard, and um, it's a fun pursuit to like figure out your style and the little challenges involved, and you become involved in that community. So I think learning about photography, like, originally when you were talking about it, is like taking classes and stuff. I think it's a great thing to get some sort of formal teaching of it, to get someone else's perspective, and then you get the other world of like just people like me and other people that you meet that do it on their own, and then you
Yeah.
can synthesize the two and kind of, off to the races. But I think like when you're starting out photography or videography, or you want to take it to the next level, formal training is always really cool. And then, but then
Yeah.
also like just secondhand, it's hard because look, dude, like for instance, like you grew up in an environment where you had the resources and the people to do rap music, to be a
For sure.
lyricist and to write. I wasn't
For
born
sure.
into that environment. So
Mm.
that's another thing for people to consider too. It's like, how are all these people so young or doing this or accelerating to this so quickly? Is a lot of the times they just got lucky, born into the environment from of their immediate environment.
Yeah.
So, like, imagine like in the 70s or like the 60s, and you're trying to learn an instrument, and you're born in a town that has those two or three famous people in it. Those They don't know that they're famous yet. They're just young learning guitar, but you're picking
Right.
up little tips and tricks from them. That's how it was done. So sometimes it's a product of your environment, and
It's kind of
your
like how it's kind of like, to your point, what you're saying. It's kind of like how you ever notice how we're amazed nowadays when we look at kids. And for example, you talk about streaming, right? You say,
yeah.
well, this kid is 12, 13 years old, and he has 1 million followers, and he's making this semi dollars a month, right? And you get to thinking like, well, yeah, if you were born if when we were born, if by the age of 5 and 6, I had a phone in my hand and a computer in front of me, by the time I got 10 or 11 or 12, I'll be a fucking genius on the computer. You know what I mean? With
Imagine
how
if you
we,
gave, I
you
mean,
know,
imagine if you gave the world of the internet to Miles Davis at 10 years old.
right? Exactly, exactly,
It's just
exactly,
like,
right? So
so, so,
I
so
understand that.
now the community of your local, not the local community of the past, is now on the internet, and you have the whole body of knowledge. So it's easy to accelerate through it, which is why it's the barrier to entry
Man, you
on
just messed me up with
photography.
that. You messed
Yeah,
me up
it's
with that
like the local
because
community is the whole world now. Like it's just a click away. Like that's why young kids are ha- can take lessons online for free all day, every day by like 10 different people from 10 different perspectives, which is
but
why it's
it's
so easy to get into photography and videography now. You just watch videos and pick up knowledge. It's just how much you
yeah.
love it. You know, you add it to your little circuit of daily things you're interested in, and then over time you just pick up all
It's the
these
circuit.
things.
So to your
Now,
point earlier, it's the
yeah,
circuit. If you can apply environment to almost every situation because if you take any era, right, and then or any era at any location, and you study that location, what was going on at that time in this place, right? So if you look at Detroit, right? If you look at Detroit in 1960s, right? Getting out of the 50s and going into the 60s, right? And Motown is about to be created, right? And then you have these people getting into music, right? Whether singing doo wop on the corner or whatever they're doing, right? And then you have this guy, one guy, who took the initiative to start this label, this music label. Not that he's the first. He's not the first, but he started this music label as a black man in the '60s, right? And then when it comes to reaching for talent, you don't have to reach far because you went to school with these people. They're around, they're down the street, they're in the corner because these people are learning and living from each other. Right. So if all these people came from because they all didn't come from the area of Detroit, but it's Detroit and the neighboring cities, right? And
yeah,
they know this man has created basically a fun house for the things we do. And so you have to go there because there was no other place you can go to do this thing. And then they all would be in this one building, writing together, creating together. If I got to study next to Austin while Austin was in like film school or whatever the case may be, I'm not saying I'd be good as Austin, but I'll have way more skills than I do as somebody who just picked up a camera from my
yeah.
area and my home environment and what I came up
Now,
on, right?
yeah. Now
So
here's
that's
the
interesting.
now here's the important distinction though between the two is like going as a black person in that time period, creating a label, the process of creating that and all the cultural things that happen, the process and the journey shaped the end result versus a 10-year-old going online and just learning the technical part. Well, he can
Right.
sit there and learn the technical part all day, but there's no cultural process and struggle that he went through
Yeah.
to get to the end result.
Yeah.
So the inverse, also what we're talking about, is also happening too, where everyone has the technical ability, but none of the culture behind it because they didn't
Right.
struggle on a journey to get to that. And sometimes it's the struggle to get to that point that shapes a perspective you wouldn't get otherwise. Like for instance, like if you went on like as an example, if you were to give someone like a camera and they go on 10 vacations across the world with this camera,
Mm.
starting not knowing what they end up as a person, as a photographer by the end of that trip is going to be so um, representative of who they are as an artist and like a specific voice versus if you were to just get the same amount of time to a person to go a camera to just learn the same technical abilities of the camera but just stay in this one little town. It's like
Right.
so
Yeah.
so that's the thing is like the internet and the classes and things are good to learn the technical part, but who you are as an artist, what you're trying to say, is a whole is the iceberg underneath. Honestly, it's like figuring out what you want to say and how you're going to say it, and that's the part that I wouldn't say all, but a large part of the youth learning these things is lacking is a certain
Yeah.
soul or perspective because there's no they get the answers quick and the technical ability quick, but they still have like 20 years ahead of them of doing that thing to figure out, okay, what do I actually want to say or who am I as an
Right.
artist?
Right. Bro,
So,
to your
you know
point,
what
to
I
your
mean?
point, yeah, 100% to your point, if it's, and I mean, I'll jump in and jump out. To your point, there's a difference in like when you heard Etta James sing right? And then the pain and everything that came with being Etta James, right? You can
Exactly.
hear that shit in the music, in her voice. You can hear it, literally hear it. And which so it's like there's a to your point, there's a technical part like knowing notes or knowing vocal progression, knowing how to do something with your voice because you learned something. Or some people have natural gifts too, where technically you have a natural gift, but the culture part is still shaping that natural gift to make you sound like Aretha Franklin, right? like it's the
Yeah.
other part of that, right?
Well, yeah. As an example, there's this country singer named Coulter Wall has this deep voice, but
Mm-hmm.
he's part of like that cowboy outlaw like country culture. If you were to give like some guy the same exact identical voice that say grew up in Manhattan, okay, New
Right.
York, yeah, he could do it, but it lacks the identity and the authenticity and the journey behind it.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of the main issues with people become so obsessed with seeing an end result and trying to emulate and copy. Like, oh, I want to be able to do that technically. I want to make it look like that. Well, the thing is, as you go on, you realize, okay, well, I can buy a medium format camera and just take a photo of anything, and it looks like it's on a
Mm-hmm.
magazine cover. It's super simple to do now. Like I can go rent a Alexa, put a prime lens on it, and everything I aim it at looks like it's in a movie. Like who
Yeah.
cares? Like
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
creating the visuals is super easy now. So it's the content and the voice. So when these artists pop up that in certain genres of music that are just so incredible, it's like how did this person get there? Like you know, this person's music is just as good, but they're not real famous. But it's like it's the other part of it. It's the culture, the environment, everything else attached to it, to where it's like the technical ability just doesn't even matter anymore. You
Right.
know what I mean? It's everything else behind it. Um,
Yeah, that's dope. I'm
right?
gonna ask you a
Like,
question about so I was a camera question.
yeah, yeah.
Turn
Oh
this to
yeah,
a straight
cameras.
photography. But turn this to a straight photography podcast. But I'm okay with that because at homeroom we can do anything we want. So, um, but I had this question because I want to know your thoughts on it. So you know how you have your bigger cameras, right? Your Sony Venice or your your Black Magics or your Aries, whatever, right? You have these I'm not comparing the cameras. I'm just saying you have bigger brands that not necessarily your photographer would start out shooting or your new videographer starts off buying, right? Um, when it comes to the top cameras of the business, I'm not talking about money per se. I'm just talking about like the big camera studios may use, whatever. Is there truly I know there's technical differences, right? This camera may be 8K, this camera may be 6K. This camera may have all the outputs to make a certain kind of rig. This may not have as much plugins to do a type of rig you would need for whatever. Take this lenses, whatever the case may be. But for the most part, do you feel like the camera if we all have if you and three other directors were shooting a movie all different kinds of what's considered the best cameras in the game, is there a huge difference when it comes to quality or at that point it's pretty much just preference in the eye of the director?
um,
You understand what I'm trying to ask?
yeah. Okay. So what I would say is this: like
It's kind of a quality question.
at the highest professional level,
Mm-hmm.
like because I know a lot of them, it's a preference. The camera comes to the preference of what the cinematographer likes,
Yeah.
and then also what the story calls for.
Oh, right. Right.
Okay, so you got to choose carefully because a red has a drier, grainier look than say a Sony Venice does.
Mm-hmm.
So certain genres and certain cameras don't mix very well, or at least in terms of like for instance, Roger Deakins really loves the Alexa because how it handles skin tones. The sensor itself handles colors a little different each one.
Yeah.
So it's really just preference. But at the extreme levels, yes, like you can shoot a Venice, an Alexa, or a Red. They all are industry standard. You put the same lens on. They're going to be varying differences.
Yeah.
But for the most part, if you were to just like randomly like show someone the same movie in a Red and then randomly like without context show them the Sony, show them they wouldn't even know the difference honestly,
Right.
because you have nothing to compare it to. But Most the trend is Sony Venice. That's kind of the
Okay.
trend it's going towards. And then the Alexa 35 would be number two.
Okay.
And then Reds would probably be like three or four.
Now, as you being a director, now you do know what you want as a look and what this calls for. So from the viewer is one thing. The viewer may not know the difference in these things. They only know what you're showing us. So if you showed us this, this was what this we assume this is what he intended for us to see in this way, in this color, whether it's grainy or whatever, or a darker mode, whatever the case may be. As a
Mm-hmm.
director, you want what you want, right? This is the look you want is the look you're going to do anything to get the look you need to get from this film. It's maybe in your head. This was the setting
Yeah,
calls for. I need a Venice or I need a red because for this I need to look like this. If it don't, then we got to change something up. So from a director standpoint, it's kind of like whatever I need to get that. I need to get whatever I need to use to get that done.
because if there's a budget for it, if there's a budget for it, it's kind of a mini vacuum. It's like, oh, here's this big budget for all the equipment. Okay, cool. So it's like, all right, look, well, we can pretty much pay for any camera and multiple cameras and any lenses. So what do you want to use? And then all of a sudden, it's like, oh yeah, like wait a minute, I need to actually pick creatively.
Right.
So, right? So it just depends on the project. Like commercial work is very Alexa, a lot of Sony Venice. Um, but certain lenses, also the lens
Yeah.
conversation too. Certain
Oh, right,
lenses
right, right, right.
have
Yeah.
a certain look that don't like. For instance, you wouldn't shoot. I don't necessarily think you would shoot Sony Venice to 8K with anamorphic lenses and shoot a comedy with it. It would just be super bizarre.
Right, 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 right. I
Like
dig that.
shoot
I dig that.
right. So it's just preference on the
Yeah.
cinematographer and the
Hey,
director and the story. But I
yep.
think the Sony Venice is probably the cleanest. Has the cleanest in terms of grain, extremely sharp, just a beautiful image. Like I think
Have
that's
you shot
pretty
with that
much.
before?
I shot with not the Venice 2, but the original Venice.
Okay.
And
Okay.
then Alexa 35, I have Alexa Mini LF. Um,
What do we shoot? What we use to pilot? We use the Ari, huh?
yeah, we shoot Arri Alexa Mini LF. It's large form. So it basically shoots it in a 4:3 ratio. So
Okay.
you can
Okay.
in post production you can bump it up and down.
Shout out to
Um,
Michelle J in the building. First time catching homeroom. Appreciate you falling through. We just talking camera stuff right now. You know, homeroom is what I like to explain to people. It's where you kind of chill out, relax, you let your hair down, and we cover whatever topic we want to cover. You know, it's when I don't even think school has homeroom too much time, but we had homeroom back in the day. It was just a class that holds you before you get your day started, right? So you talk about anything. So we cover a lot of different things in homeroom. Me and my man Austin just talking about cameras and photography and film work right now. So um, you know, we cover anything. But shout out to you for coming in. Shout out to my brother Dogface for dropping in. Appreciate you, my good brother. Good to see you as always. Um, yeah, just talking stuff with my good brother Austin. Um, yeah, Austin. I tend on the reason why I ask all these questions is because I know where I want to go to when it comes to learning film, right, or learning how to shoot film, and there's the things I can do on my own, from like learning film and learn how to shoot, right, from my whatever camera I'm using, and then when it comes to a point where I start to, I'm not saying full out I want to be a filmmaker. I'm not saying I do or don't. I'm just saying I would love to explore trying to make a film,
look,
and whatever happens from that happens, you know.
dude, there's so many actors that become directors and producers because they fall in love with storytelling. So you don't need to
Yeah,
know like cinematographers
that's what
handle
it
the
is.
tech.
The
When you
storytelling.
watch
That's
a
what for me. Mm.
when you watch a movie, cinematographers are handling the visuals for you. You're just sitting at a chair watching the acting. And a lot of times, cinematographer is not even touching the camera. He's watching a
Right.
monitor, and
Uh,
a camera op is holding the camera,
wait. So
right?
cinematographer essentially do okay. If I, okay, now oh right now Dogface, I'm doing the Foxy. I'm gonna bring you in 1 second. Chill right there. I got you, my good brother. Dogface. Right now I'm shooting with my Sony VVE10. It's my first camera my good brother Mr. Howard gave me, and I'm just learning on the camera right now until I'm ready to upgrade. Right, you know, so trying to get used to it, learn all the things until I get ready to upgrade. Um, Damn, my bad, Austin. You just said what was you saying?
I don't know. I haven't even had enough coffee yet. I don't even know. I'm trying to finish this one.
Oh, so this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm asking you. So I'm gonna bring my brother Tafashi on stage, and Tafashi, you can jump in this conversation. We'll switch topics too, but I'm gonna just bring you on stage now.
All right, bet.
My good brother Tafashi is definitely in the building.
What's going
Shout out
on,
to my good brother
Max? What love?
Tafashi. Matter of fact, well, this is what I should have did for Austin too, but I'm gonna clap it up for both of y'all right now. Since you're in the building, in the building. Austin, I did want to ask you. So a cinematographer does what? What's the difference between a cinematographer and a videographer?
Hmm. Okay, well, a cinematographer
Dog face.
is responsible for like the lighting and the lighting of any particular thing, any type of scene, the camera work, the lensing, the camera movements, and how to capture each moment in each scene emotionally the best based off what the director wants on the
Okay.
script. A lot of the times on a film set, a cinematographer, in my experience, isn't even touching the camera. They're
Oh.
picking the lens. They're picking the lens with the camera movement. They're telling a key grip how to light it, and they're
Mm-hmm.
painting the scene to capture the tone and the emotion that the scene calls for.
Okay.
The camera op is just a guy who's professionally trained to hold the camera
Right.
and is good at the movements. And then AC is pulling focus because the lenses are all manual. So he's watching a monitor and he's pulling focus, so focusing forward and back with the
Okay.
actor. So a cinematographer, in large part, is responsible for. I'd say the easiest way would just be what is this going to look like and how to achieve that with the camera and the lens and the lighting. A videographer is someone who is a videographer is in the most traditional sense isn't necessarily someone who's setting up lights with the key grip. A videographer is someone going to a wedding and like filming stuff with the camera. Might have a light or two, maybe, but usually isn't. And
Right.
but it's usually just a one man band,
Got it.
right?
Okay.
Because a
Okay.
cinematographer has a film crew to set up C stands, a key grip to set up lights. He has a best boy to help him with the electrical and all the different things. So the cinematographer, that's why like cinematographer really is like a true art form versus a videographer is in its most traditional sense is just using it as a one man band with a camera and audio
Right.
attached to the camera a lot of the times and just whether it's a gimbal or handheld, just capturing stuff in a more of a documentary type.
Okay. Okay.
But a
I
cinematographer is like
appreciate
a
that.
full art. A cinematographer is cinematography is to me is one of the most advanced visual art forms. Period. Because
Ah.
Yeah.
because you have to consider everything else in terms of every little nuanced decision. Like for
Right.
instance, as an example, say there's a scene where there's a girl getting ready to go out for a date, right? Well,
Mm-hmm.
now you have like uh, she's frantically like getting ready, putting her makeup on, so you need to shoot it in a frantic way. So the camera movement matches the emotions of that scene.
Right. Okay. Okay.
And how are you gonna light it? How are you gonna light it? What can I do for the lighting to match the emotions of that scene? What's the color
Got
going
it.
to be for that scene? What is the actor wearing? And I got to consider, okay, well, that actor is wearing this color, so I need to change the color or the tone of the scene. Am I going to do long lens and make it feel like I'm peering in on this moment, or am I going to shoot wide lens and I'm going to feel
So
like I'm with her? So there's
the
so many
cinematographer is doing
considerations.
all that. He's doing all that
All
while
of,
the
all of that,
oh shit.
considering all of
Okay.
that for every little scene. So, but here's the thing: directors a lot of times know that language very well. So every scene has a conversation between director and cinematographer about the little details of how you want to shoot that. But sometimes the scene will be so obvious of how it's going to shoot that a lot of the time cinematographer and director are on the same page in terms of how they want to shoot it creatively because it just makes emotional sense for that particular scene. When you go to
Okay.
videography, it's different. Like you don't; those considerations aren't necessarily
Right. They
there.
just one man band
And
get their shot off.
in a traditional sense, videographer would just be like, okay, like I just need to capture this on camera in a smooth way for whatever if it's an event or it's a
Right.
wedding, it's just like just keep it clean and just
Got it.
capture the
Okay.
moment. But cinematography is an extremely advanced art form with over 100 years of you know so that's like the main difference
Got it. Okay.
that I can keep in simple terms.
You see the question here too? Dolphins asked a question. You see the question?
Oh, what was the question? Oh, I haven't directed any movies. We did shoot a pilot that we're going to pitch to the network, but I did a lot of commercial work,
For
a
sure.
lot of
For sure.
commercial work. And the thing is, cinematography in commercials can be even harder because if you're directing, like you watch a commercial on TV, you're stepping into a brand that already has a visual identity established. So they're not hiring you as a director or a cinematographer to reinvent the wheel. You're there to pick up what the brand has and to continue it on for that particular campaign, whether it be a seasonal campaign or a new product or a brand. So, and so the cinematographer has to match what that brand is, with lighting,
Right.
color, all that. So that's even sometimes even technically harder because you're just continuing on what's already there. So you got to fit the exact formula.
Okay. Tafashe, you good over there, bro, with your camera? Tafashe over there, dark. Man, first of all, let me shout out to people who just fell in. Shout out to Jen. Jen is definitely in the building. Sierra is definitely in the building. What's up, Sierra? How are you doing? Sunshine Baby is definitely in the building. Salute. Nick, my good brother, definitely in the building. Shout out to Nick. Jiggy Tricky dance move with the jokes. He's definitely in the building. Dogface, you want to? Man, I thought you didn't want to go live. I thought we asked about that one time.
I like,
But
I
Tafashe
like
doing
it.
push-ups.
I like. I could hear something. But
Yeah, he's over there.
I
He's
like
over
the
there doing
questions though
push-ups.
because I have enough experience with commercials and that entertainment industry with regards to like how they film stuff. So now is the time to like
There
ask
you go.
whatever questions, because I probably know the answer to some of those burning questions.
You was good, bro. Tafashe, you good over there? Can you hear me?
I can't
You can
hear.
hear me?
I
Yeah.
can't hear
My
him.
bad. I
Oh,
thought
Oh,
it
there
was
you
my
there
go.
you
bad.
go.
What's good, Tafashe, man? How you
I
doing,
can hear
bro?
you.
How you doing, my
I'm doing good. I'm listening to this good knowledge. I'm learning something right now.
guy? I appreciate you falling in, my guy. I love talking to the people, but if I can pull you up, bring you on the screen, I would definitely pull you up and chop it up with you. I do want to ask you a question while you're here, right? And obviously, this question for both of you. Tafashe, you can answer first. So, your Tafashe, your father, correct?
Yes, sir.
How many youngins?
One, a 4-year-old son.
Yeah, 1 4-year-old son. As a father out here, what do you do to um, maybe reset is the word I want to use, but let me use what do you do for Tafashe? Like, what's Tafashe thing for him to when it's time to unwind, when it's time to not do for I gotta right now I don't I'm not being a dad. Obviously, you're always a dad and a father. I don't mean it in that kind of way. I just mean like when it comes to doing something for Tafashe, you're not doing nothing for the job. You're not doing nothing for your son. You're not helping your folks out, your family, whatever. What does Tafashe do for Tafashe to release, to kind of unwind, to reset?
All right. To be serious with you, not even being facetious, I'm watching you guys. You guys play like a big
Word,
part of mental health.
word.
Yeah, that's really the easiest way to explain it. I'm actually in my office/studio right now, but my backstory is, aside from my son, I really don't have any family. So when I
Word.
like right now, as for example, I usually take my son to school 12:30. It's 11 o'clock right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm literally watching, talking, conversing with you guys. Before I watch you guys, the morning will start off. Shoot, this is literally like my office space where I literally crash. I mean, I've told people in the chat, but I'm being transparent. So I wake
Yeah.
up here, you know, I'll lift some weights. I do, I've been on a whole fitness journey. I went on a 60-day fast. So I'm just going through like
Word.
with my son. It's all mental health. It's all trying to make sure my mind's not stagnant. So I'm in my office space. I'm wearing my clothing brand. I have my sewing machine right here. I have something for my kid right here. Something Moxie.
Word. Yeah,
So
yeah.
I mean, I'm on camera with you, literally grabbing all type of just random stuff. That's the ab roller. I could ham a little bit. Let's see which way. That's
Hey, did you show me the studio too when you first showed me your clothing line? Was that in your studio?
yeah. I'm just trying to clean it up so the chat don't cook me too bad, because it's not
Hey,
presentable. But
look.
I fuck with y'all, so I'll let y'all cook me one time, man. Don't cook me
No,
too.
the good thing about my chat is it's only 15 people in here. We got it at 200.
You see, Luck, it's forward thinking. You're gonna have a lot of people in here one
No,
day.
for sure, for sure, for
Back
sure,
things.
for sure. But right now, you got 15, and 3 of us is on TV right now, so you good.
All right. So I'm gonna go behind the green screen. This is still to answer your question. What I do for
Okay,
him.
okay,
I lost. I'm not trying to. I'm trying to be short-winded.
I got you.
I lost my father on my birthday. A month later, my son was born. So I've been
Wow.
on a journey just trying to get my shit together. So
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
why this is the futon. This is the office space. I always got to keep stuff clean. I literally just had this made. So when I first showed you, I didn't have the booth made, but
Ah,
this used to be Lenny Kravitz, one of his drummers, and this is like their ISO drum booth. So this is all part of mental health. This is stuff I'll just play. I've been playing piano. I've been playing piano since I was 7. So when my son comes
word.
around, he'll come all on the piano. The piano's somewhere in here. He'll play on
You
it. He's
you
not
do what
around.
on the
I
piano?
do my own stuff. So I'm really artistic. So I do a lot of stuff. Just I make art. I do silk screen. Here's the heat press right here.
Yo,
Here's a sewing machine. So like I said, it's a complete mess right now. So I'm trying to cover it up. But this is I told you last time, but this is a slogan for the brand. Chase your dreams, work for someone who did. So a lot of times I'm making
that's
stuff like
fire.
that.
Yo, bro, you got to make me a 3X. I wear them on. I wear them on my live.
I appreciate that. And to go into also was saying too, I'm trying to look for my setup. But I have a whole Canon set up too, my old Canon 60D. So I really would appreciate it. Austin differentiate between a cinematographer and a videographer, because a lot of stuff too, to occupy my time when I'm not listening to FMW content or your content. I'm working on some editing, or I'm just doing something. That's why there's a green
Yeah.
right here. So I appreciate him even breaking that down so I know where I fit in terms of just in my creative journey. But not to get sidetracked, this is all
No,
the
for sure.
answer. What do I do when I'm not with my son? Because the car seat right
I
here.
appreciate that.
The little times I don't have my son, like I said, it's all the art that I've been creating. So I just be in here creating. I'm really doing DoorDash, so I didn't have a good start to DoorDash. I couldn't do DoorDash this morning. So, but
Yeah, sometimes it be like that, bro. For real. And dog face, that's a fact. And I'm working on it. Mentally, I'm working on it. Then physically, I'm working on it. That's a fact. Um, I appreciate that, Tavashe, man. It's like I feel like you're like me. Like my creative itch has always has to be scratched, or I don't feel fulfilled. Right? I have to be doing something creative. Excuse me. I have to be doing something creative to keep my juices going, and to also put me in a happy place. You know what I mean? Yeah, man. I need a 3X, bro.
yeah, this is the one you saw. I'm listening to you, but yeah, I got
Bro,
3X.
what? That's the one I need.
I
Yo,
got
is
some
that?
for you too, Austin.
Say luck on it.
Yo,
Yeah,
did you time travel and create that for Terrence or what?
You know what I'm saying? That's
and I can
fire.
tell you, Austin, that I can be frank with you. So this is why I mentioned my father passed on my birthday. My father made a book called Lucc, and it was an acronym for Living Under Conscious Knowledge. So me having a
Word.
clothing brand, me trying to move the brand more mature, instead of me just having less talk, like on this shirt it just says less talk, and then on the back it says chase your dreams, work for someone who did. I did all this
Yep.
in-house. But
Yep.
to mature the brand, to answer his question, this is me just giving ode to my dad. This is literally the font from his book. This is literally the one of the intros from his book. This is the four leaf clover, luck. I just added less talk. Oh, sorry. I just added
Yep.
less talk.
Yep.
But I mean, my dad was born in 1940, so this is all my brand stands for. It's called Let's Talk, but it's an act
Yep.
itself for legends, silently securing a legacy known. So when my father passed, me trying to just secure his legacy through my brand, it happened all organically, Austin. I didn't, when I've been following Luck, I was just showing him how I'm showing you my merch, and he was like, "I need that."
Yeah.
But this is where my dad working, where my dad like, man, stop doing DoorDash, nigga. You gotta boss up and stop being so tough. My dad used to always ask me, "Am I scared of success?" And I don't know what he meant by that, but I'm like, I'm not scared of success. But the older I get, he probably just mean like, that's why I like watching your content. 'Cause I'm
Yo,
still
I
trying.
think I can't tell you what your pops meant by that per se. But what I think he meant by that was to take risk. Look. I'm glad I'm talking to you because I have these kind of conversations. It's like I'm talking to you, but I'm also talking to myself, right?
Correct.
It's like me and doing Uber, also, right? It's like I'm telling myself. I was just talking to Austin about that. Austin knows me very, very well. He knows stuff I even haven't. As vulnerable and transparent I am, he knows things I haven't said on the internet, right? So, um, he also knows that one of the things I want to do is get out of that. Right. I'm grateful for all my things.
Yeah.
Right. Whether even because I'm very key on being grateful for the things you have. Because I
Mm-hmm.
believe that sometimes, well, God will show you what it's like to be without Him, and then you just be in that state of like trying to figure it out. Right. So I'm a believer of being grateful. I'm grateful for all the things I have, and but also I'm ready to move on. I'm ready to elevate. I'm ready to go to the next level. And sometimes that takes risk. And the difference between maybe somebody like me and somebody else who may be further along in life somewhere, not all the time, but somebody may have been like, you know what, fuck that, I'm doing this. I'm about to. For example, there was one girl I was listening to. She was talking about how she took risks. She wanted to move, right? So she was praying about. She's a spiritual woman too, a very Christian woman. She said she's praying about it and everything, but that wasn't enough. Not that she didn't believe God can do it. She believed that she had to be intentional with moving. So she packed up all her stuff. She said she packed up all her stuff. The only thing she didn't pack up was the bed. She packed up and had to make it so uncomfortable in her house that it made her go even harder so she didn't have to live there, right? And she packed up like with the intentions on, I have to move. You know what I mean? Like I have to move. So I'm gonna start acting like I'm moving, right? And eventually she ended up getting up, buying another some came across the money or something happened and she ended up buying another house and then she was out, right? But she took that risk on like, I'm not gonna get comfortable here. I'm not settling in this. I don't want to settle in this. I need to do whatever I need to do to move. Austin, you took risk with doing a pilot. People will hear the whole story, but just to drop a little bit, that when we did our pilot, you were strictly doing that. We were strictly doing like, yo, that commercial we did was super dope. I thought that'd be a dope TV show, you and Sticks. And then you was like, all right, I'll shoot it. Right? Not knowing at the time, now you knew that you had to pay for some of this stuff. But hell, you couldn't have known how much this was gonna cost. I gotta pay all this stuff. I gotta stop in between gigs to make more money, to pay for more stuff, to pay for permits and the equipment you use. So that's taking a risk, right? So when I believe when we sell this script or when we make this show, then that's going to be the reward for all the risks you took to make that happen. Instead of waiting for somebody on an idea you have and for them to shoot it, right? So Tafashe, cats like you and me, we have to take the risk, right? I'm so content creating is part of me taking a risk. I told myself that I have to show up every day at 10 o'clock in the morning to do homeroom, and I have to show up every Wednesday to do relatable with Rios, and then I have to also drive, and I have to also do photography, and I have to also um, do this pilot, so I can put many feelers out there, hoping and praying, or not even hoping and praying. I'm walking in faith that one of these things or all of them going to take off,
Right.
right? And then would give me a more space to create and live a little more relaxing life instead of just like a rat race and create. It's like I'm living in a rat race, but I'm also creating. Right?
That
I'm
was the
also
best
creating.
way to answer your question when you were like, "What do you do when I don't have my son?" That you really kind of summed it up right there. Like I'm still in a rat race. Look, that's why I'm watching you guys as I'm doing my daily activities, 12 hours a day, door dashing or doing that. So I
For
mean, and
sure.
I appreciate you, Austin. We need more friends like you in every circle group, Austin, to push the people like us that might be more just.
For
Eh.
sure, bro. Look, I always say this, like the timeline, The timeline is always short. The reality is the timeline that you have to get stuff done is 10 times shorter than what you think it is.
Mm.
And
Mm.
so I keep that philosophy of like, oh, I want to do this. And I'll have someone say, well, actually, I need it by tomorrow. And it's like, man, I thought I had a week for that. But the reality is in life, there's no better time than like literally right now.
Mm.
You can build up the anticipation, you keep up all these excuses for head over time. But if you just get started now, you'll catch the momentum once you start. You don't need inspiration or momentum before you do something. Jump into it, be afraid to fall, but eventually you're going to figure out how to swim up to the top and get some air, and you'll figure out your momentum forward once you jump into it. A
Yeah.
lot of the times with risk in the creative field is rubber hits the road when someone asks you, are you going to spend money on yourself? Are you going to invest in yourself? And all of a sudden, at that moment, as an adult, you hit this road of like, okay, maybe I'm not ready. You know, I put an ungodly amount into that pilot, but I took the money and invested in myself. And the reality is I have no regrets. If it fails, I'm so happy. I don't care. If
Mm.
you go into something and it fails, you'll have no regrets because it's like you went for it and you did it, and that's a fulfilling
Yeah.
part of the journey. Um, like I did a clothing line that failed. Like I spent like a whole year on it, and like as on top of other everything else, and it failed. But I had no regrets, and I learned from the whole process, and it was fun. And maybe one day I'll come back to it, but I don't have any regrets because I just went for it, took a risk. It's like you're gonna take a bunch of risks, and then a lot of them are gonna fail, but eventually, like one hits, and as long as you don't regret it, aka just going for it, you don't risk it. You don't regret it if you go for it and it
Yeah.
fails because you've gone full circle with it and you've learned from it to go to the next one. But if you don't take any risks, you're not gonna learn shit.
Yeah. You
You know
didn't
what I
really.
mean?
Yeah. You didn't really
But
do anything. You didn't take
as an
that
example,
that
I had a
shot.
call as an example, like there's a lot of actors out there and a lot of videographers that are just kind of siloed. But it's like, man, you guys could team up and create your own short films, but it's taking it upon yourself to pick up the phone and call. No one wants to call, no one wants to email, no one wants to collaborate. Risk is like step one in a long journey. So you got to take the risk and just go for it.
Energy.
And the one thing I notice is that people don't invest money in themselves. It's like they'll spend money on everything else, but it's like you're not even going to invest in yourself. You know, like
Yeah.
classes or like for instance, like I bought recently like a tutorial series by this really incredible photographer in London that shows his whole process, hours of how to he retouches photos. It was a few $100, but it was like I want to invest in myself to learn how to do that. And now I can do some pretty cool advanced things that take my artwork to the next level. But and until you invest in yourself
That's key.
and take a risk, then how are you ever gonna advance yourself? So I think taking the risk and sticking and there's the thing. Remember like that we were saying earlier, like you create a circuit of things that you're interested in.
Yep. Yep.
Each
Hmm.
each one of those is gonna have a hurdle that you either are gonna decide, oh, I really don't like this, or I love it so much that I'm actually gonna push myself to the next level. So that's also part of risk too, is you gotta try certain things an event and then you every single thing that you try is gonna hit a wall pretty quickly, especially as an adult. And then once you hit that wall, it's like, okay, is this worth it to go to push through the next level, or am I going to drop this one off and keep it more of like a fun little, I'll revisit it later and just find the next thing. So risk is step one in a long cycle of trying to figure out what are the things that are going to work for you. You know,
For sure. For
um,
sure. I'm I think that's where my joy. I remember talking to my good friend James Fauntleroy about. I interviewed him on an older podcast I did some years back, and he talked about how because I asked him about goals, like what's his future goals or whatever. He said, well, he said he kind of looks at the difference. He said, I don't necessarily make or pay attention to goals. He said, I think it's more satisfying. He says more satisfying when you pay attention to the journey. Like if you, he said, if your eyes are fixed on the goals, then you won't realize how much of a cool journey you went on, and sometimes you won't learn nothing, right? Because all the steps that happen in the middle is all the good parts, right? Whether
yeah,
good or bad. It's like they say, we don't take losses; they're lessons, right? So he kind of looked at it like it's like a valley, right? It's like you do this one thing and you try to do this one thing, and whether it fails or not, that's one part of it. And you come down. You try the next thing, fails or not, come down. He said by the time you get to the end, you get to look back and you're like, damn, look at all the things I did. You get to appreciate all the stuff you did. I liken it to. I remember when I first started touring. Um, when I first started touring, one of my earliest tours was with Warren G. And Warren didn't like planes. Warren to this day, he still don't like planes. Now he'll fly if he has to, but he'd rather not. He don't like airplanes, right? So I remember we went to New York, a VH1 that year, whatever year this was, VH1 at Hip Hop Honors. It was dedicated to Def Jam. I don't know if y'all remember that show, VH1 Hip Hop Honors, but they were honoring Def Jam. So we went to New York on a train from downtown LA to New York on a train. That's 3 days up and 3 days back. 3 days on the train up and 3 days back. So, which is absolutely crazy, right? But I'll tell you this: on the way there, I had some of the most fun I ever had in my life. Some of the best memories I ever had being on the road, because it's because if you think about the days, like 3 days on the train, it's like, well, you're not sitting coach. You're not sitting in the one little seat next to the one person the whole trip. We had our own little sleepers, place where you can sleep and fold up and beds. So, but also you looking at like, there's the people in different cities. You get to stop in different states, and talk to people in different cities, and you get to walk the whole train and see different things, and you meet people. And if they got girls on the train, cool dudes on the train, you get to play dominoes with, and all these things. So it's like you're going through different worlds for 3 days. And then once you get to New Orleans, you spend a night in New Orleans, then you go to New York the next day, right? That was a whole nother amazing memory in itself. I say all that to say this. Usually people never take trains, right? That's not like a general consensus on if you got to go to New York or you got to go somewhere hours away, right? Usually people jump on a plane and just go. But if you knew how much you missed by being on a plane, right? It's like I've been to New York tons of times. 5-hour flight, you there, quick, cool. But the things I saw by being on the train, I would have never saw just by flying on that plane. So I missed so much. So to the original point, it's like if you stop it, it's like the goal is going to be the thing. You're going to make the goal or not. But
Yeah,
that journey is where you learn all the stuff,
it's
all
the
the good stuff. You
process.
learn about
It's
yourself, what you can do, what you can't do, what you like, what you don't like, wins, what works, what doesn't work. All that's in the journey. The goal is just be like, oh, this is the end, and you get a prize or not. So
let me add to that
mhm.
is like yeah, it's like about enjoying the process. But the the hard part the hard part for people is that in that process that you're enjoying, a lot of it's like the stock market is like it's gonna go up and down. But when you
Mhm.
zoom out, if you zoom out overall, it's only gone up over time.
Yeah, for sure.
When you for instance like in doing clothing line or you're going on tour or anything that you do, the process you have to love the process overall, and part of loving that process is also loving the part when it goes down, when you're having bad days, because it's all part of the overall process itself. And that's where people fall out, is like you go on this like difficult journey to take a risk on something, and you're gonna have
Mhm.
I've had so many days on different journeys with production where it's like this is just an absolute nightmare. Like I am not feeling it right now, but it's part of the process. You have to be willing to know that like okay, the train's moving. You're right. I mean, I have days on this train that are not good, but overall, the process is still fun overall. So it's being
Yeah,
self-aware of like, okay, I'm gonna have these like challenging parts of it, but that's just part of the process.
yeah,
Especially in creative endeavors, it's really hard creatively when you take a long creative process because it's not all fun. But if you're self-aware enough to know, okay, like I'm still enjoying this in general. This is just a nightmare day or a nightmare moment, or this person's being difficult, blah 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 blah. But to push through, that's the hard part of it. Is like is those those down parts and still being able to take a step back and say, okay, well, overall, this is still moving forward.
Still a good thing.
Right.
It's going up, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, Tafashi. Let me ask you. Um, Speaking of goals, or speaking of maybe, um, let's talk bucket list, right? I don't know if y'all ever seen the movie Bucket List or know what a bucket list is, right? I think we pretty much know what a bucket list is. Um, what are some of the things on your bucket list? Okay, not some of the things. Let's talk about one thing that's on your bucket list, something that Tafashe has to do before it's his time to transition. What are some of the things you want to do? What's one of the things you want to do before transition?
All right. All right. All right. First and
This is
foremost,
the space.
oh, this is a safe place.
This is a very safe space. Any
Uh,
space I'm in is a safe space.
woo. All right. Look, I was late. I'm tuned in every day. What? Look, I hate this era I'm in right now. I'm
Okay.
homeless. Look, I hate this. I hate it. So everything Austin was saying, it was like when you, Austin, Reels, y'all be speaking. I don't know if y'all what frequency y'all be tuned in to kind of just pick up stuff, but it's not falling on deaf ears. So I feel like I'm the
Okay,
kid
that.
that come through and be like, hey, that's me. So to answer your question, I need a house, I don't know, apartment. I need something for my son. He thinks this is the house. This is not the house. I'm grateful that this studio I'm in. I almost dropped the location. I forgot on my internet. They're
Don't
very
do
gracious.
that.
They're very gracious. And they know my story, so I don't want to abuse that. But I've been here since November, so everything Austin was just saying, it's like when I first came in here, I was coming off of I'm trying to get my shit together. This the Hail Mary to just establish something. So my first thing, and I'm saying that to say that me having a son, it's like, all right, that's the first and foremost. I need to get as a man, as a father, my shit together. So when you said that initially, it was like I need to get a house. I'm tired of going 20 minutes to go take a shower, 20 minutes back to go do this, and I just need to be in one place so I can. Uh. Now the second thing, I'm 30. I told you my dad died on my birthday, so sometimes I forget how old I am. I think I'm 33 or 32. 33. I'm
Mhm.
born in 92. I don't know how to swim, and I don't like that. I'm like a stereotypical black person right now. Like, so before I leave this earth, I have to learn how to swim. Look,
Okay.
I have a truth in the details. I almost drowned last time I got in the water.
Wow.
It was 4th of July, couple before my son was born. I was with the mother of his child, her family. She's Jamaican.
Mm.
Where I fucked up was I was seeing one of the little kids in there. She's like 5, 6. She made it seem so easy, just going the other. They tricked me. They tricked me. Ego, pride. You can do it. You're grown. You're a guy. You can do it. Look, when I'm talking about daggy, help, help. They thinking I'm what energy saved me. I was able to grab the ledge. I ain't been in the water in the last 7 years. I'm not even lying. Look,
Fam,
you.
do you know how much almost drowning will humble you? Because ain't no cool way to do it.
And then when they think
You are
then when they
trying to
think you joking,
survive.
like I was drowning. Y'all thought I was just being theatrical. I was help me, help. So I
Oh, man.
gonna lie.
What about you, Austin? Man, what's the bucket list for you? What's something on
I
the bucket
think
list?
I definitely want to get a TV show going, and then get like a first movie in the
Word.
works, like
Yeah.
a first film. The TV show, I feel confident we can get something, and then after that, it's like off to the races for a film. And the thing is, like, to kind of play off what he was saying, is like, I don't compare myself to anyone, and I don't care. Like, I just focus on what I'm doing in my own lane. So the timeline to me does not matter. Like, I just could care less what anyone else is doing or how far along they are, because that's like their journey. Like, that's like their journey that they went on. So if it takes 5 years, 10 years, whatever. Like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna just focus on what I'm doing and just be happy in my own lane. Like, you could have $1 billion, Luck, and I would just be like, whatever. Anyway, I'm gonna just focus on my thing. You see what I'm saying?
Right,
Like
right, right.
it doesn't matter. So if you just focus on like what you want to do that you really love, then the timeline doesn't necessarily matter as long as you're working towards it. But that's my goal, is to get a movie and a TV show, and I just will focus on that and just work on that and just take my time with it and not let other things like distract me too much. You just keep pushing.
For
To
sure. For
back
sure.
off that, I think I heard Jordan Peele speaking about that recently when he the journey to work on his first movie or his success. I can't remember which one exactly, but he kind of just said what you just said, where he had to kind of look at his goal as a hobby so it doesn't fuck with him mentally over the long term of however long
Ah,
it's done.
Yeah, and what'll screw you up is just comparing, like, because you have points of reference with everyone else. But if you just like dissolve those and just focus on yours, then before you know it, like, oh wait, like this script's done, or I got this far, and like now it's happening. And like you ever hear guys like talk about how like they just can't believe that it's happening. Like it's like, oh, we're here, we did it. It's because they just focused so much on what they were doing that before you know it, it's like you wake up and you're like, oh, we're here, we did it.
yeah. Yeah.
And then it's like, and then the romantic idea of what you thought it was is completely not. It's like, no, I just worked really hard on this thing, and I'm just glad people like it. Anyway, I'm on to the next one. So it's like your head was down, and that's really the way to do it, because, and that's how other people, get really successful too. Where they just have their head down and focus on what they're doing, and then before you know it, you wake up and you're just like, whoa, I did it, and it's a different experience at the end. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For me, getting into that mentality, I had to kind of tell myself I'm not missing anything new.
Hey,
For
break that
sure.
down. Break that down.
Um, to get to that mentality, in my opinion, for him to kind of just what I'm kind of telling all my friends lately, like lock in, lock in, lock in.
Mm-hmm.
In this industry, the music industry, sometimes we have an excess of excess of excess. So having that self discipline sometimes can be just too hard. If you in an environment where you could smoke all day, you can drink all day, you could do whatever, whatever, whatever. What he said might be simpler, easier said than done. If you don't have that discernment to kind of just know how to keep your head down, keep
Right.
working, miss the celebrations, and miss you not feeling like today's a laggy day. I don't feel like doing it. You still have to lock in. But what he's
Yeah, but
saying,
yeah.
mhm.
I don't know if you heard me and Terrence talking earlier, but it was like, it's like creating, like when you go to the gym, you have a circuit of exercises. You do biceps, and you go over here and you do curls, and you go over here and you do legs, and you do like 10 reps of each, and you kind of cycle
Speak on
in
that.
a
Speak
circuit.
on that. Run me back. I missed it.
Well, well, that's kind of how like trainers do it, right? And it
Yeah.
occupies all of your time in the gym, because it's like you finish this, you don't even have time to rest properly. You got to go on the next one, go on the next one. So if you do that creatively on your day to day, and then your mind becomes occupied by creative endeavors to where other
Yeah.
things don't even matter. So it's like, okay, I'm gonna work on this. I'm gonna work on the shirt brand. I'm gonna work on my music. I'm gonna work on this, and then you get into a momentous cycle of just creativity that occupies your day every day, and then you become happier over time because you're just like your head's in the clouds thinking about stuff that other things you like, and there's no room for excess. And then over
Yeah.
time, doing that cycle, it's like, wait a minute, I'm actually getting pretty good at this thing, or I'm getting really good at this thing. So it's finding those creative
No, you're
that
cooking,
cra-
but man, you're cooking. But everything you're saying, it's like being the chills. I went on a
So
6 day fast, not eating any food.
mhm.
I just came from the gym, but that's also when I tell people if I'm going to the gym and what you're saying is literally what I'm doing. I have circuits, but I feel
yeah,
like if I'm telling other people how I'm doing it, or they're like, "How did you do this? How did you do that?" It seems like I'm speaking like Mandarin Chinese to them, or it's like
yeah.
hieroglyphics, and I'm
But
boggled.
the thing is like to keep a mental circuit. So like, for as an example, like today I'm gonna be working on the trailer. I'm gonna be editing, and then I got this new guitar that I'm like working on that, and then I'm also thinking about the script I have to write. I'm gonna work on that a little bit. So you realize like this entire day, I mean, apart from this, is dedicated to all these creative muscles being flexed in different categories. So if I do this all day,
You're very correct. Yeah.
if I do this all day, then I'm locked into just what I'm doing. My mental capacities are being flexed to where like I don't even have time for drama. If something hits me, it's like out of left field. It's like, what? Like, I don't have time for this or that. There's no negativity because you created the mental circuit. So if you're sitting around and there's a void there, there's something else you need to take a risk on and discover. So your mind is not necessarily in the clouds, but it's in a healthy cloud
No, yeah,
all day.
you're very correct about that.
It's kind of like I think a lot of times we don't realize how much we do that on a daily, right? So there's your intentional. If you're being creative, you're in a creative space where you, or people who make schedules, right? People who look at their schedule for the day. Okay, I got this, that, boom. I got a call at 1:30. I got dinner with such and such at 5. So that's the way they're doing it, right? That's their what you call it, also your circuit, right? That's their circuit.
Yeah.
But if you look at you ever found yourself saying, damn, man, August went by fast.
Mm-hmm.
That's the same thing, right? It's like on a bigger scale, right? It's like you were so consumed with like your life and your son and working out and trying to do this, save money, ups, downs, whatever the case, that you think August went by fast. August went by the same time it goes by every fucking year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Time is the time, right? 30, 31 days is 30, 31 days, right? So it went by the same amount of time it goes by every time. But you're so consumed in your life things that by the time you look up, you're like, oh, wait, September here. I'm like, yeah, because you were focused on the other stuff. Right now, I think the plan, not the plan, but the plan per se, well, for me, the plan is to take what Austin is saying with the circuit, right, and make it intentional, right?
Yeah.
Let me go in the zone of like, if I have to write a script, not that I write scripts, but one day I'll be writing scripts. So if I got to write scripts, okay, let me tap in. I know today I set some time away to a few hours to zone in just on the script, and then I'll do that. Boom. Okay, focus on the story. I'm writing the story, whatever. Eventually, it becomes muscle memory, and then the circuit of the plan, the way you're doing it, or forget that, the homeroom, right? It's like I was telling myself I need to start doing something. I need to make a schedule for homeroom, and it has to be at 10 a.m. every morning because I want to go after Rios to not jump in between that. And also, a lot of people who been knowing who are kind of newly finding my content are from the Ghetto Cafe. So I'm like, it's a smart place to put it, and they're already tuned in where they can just flow over, and then it makes for a community, and I'll build off from there. So with me doing the repetition, okay, with Rio's doing the repetition, one thing Tafashe know is tomorrow in the morning at this time, I can turn on YouTube and Rio's gonna be there because he's been there the last semi months of however long he's been there. He can count on him being there because he's been there, right? And that's his circuit. So I think that's some good game.
Intentional. I think you're right. Being intentional about it is that's the adult part about it. Is like you create this mental circuit for yourself of let's just say 3 things that occupy your mind all day in a rewarding, creative, or challenging way. You're correct. Like you got to be intentional about it. And it's not as romantic as it build up in your head, but if you're intentional about it, I mean, dang, the progress you make over time is crazy.
Because
look,
I went to, I spoke to this. I lost my car. My car got towed by the police while I was doing DoorDash when I was in Rio's chat. Lucc went live with Jason Martin. We know him as Problem. Mm-hmm. And Problem was speaking to, I was telling Lucc the same thing I'm talking to you, Austin. Like, man, I just got my car towed. I was doing DoorDash. Fuck, what should I do? Jason was saying, yo, evidently that might have been happening for a reason for you to, God was probably removing that so you could be doing what you really want to do. Because if you're door dashing so long, there's a reason why you're door dashing. So fast forward, Austin, to now this and everything I'm able to update Lucc with, it is a mental circuit, but I am speaking to the merger of, I could say in real time financially, it was like, well, I couldn't even have the time to just say, I'm going to sit down for 12 hours in a booth. I'm in the office. I'm rarely in here. But what I can do is say, hey, I can make 1 beat a day or try to make a beat a day. If I can't make a beat a day, I could try to at least heat press something. I already have the screens. Just put the shirt down here. You DoorDash, you met your quota, you watched your entertainment, you watched FMW, this, and that. All right, now like Austin said, do something creatively. You have free time, nobody's live. All right, occupy yourself. So then that's where it comes into. I like the conversation to segue because between fitness and me being in here, I don't have any other time. And then having
Exact,
my son, I don't have
Yeah.
exactly, exactly. And then to me, that's gonna help you like lead to a long term sense of like happiness and fulfillment.
correct. 1000% agree.
Because because
1000%
because
agree.
it's like it's all occupied by things over time, you know. Um, but you're gonna have days where it's like, man, I have to just like they're gonna be occupied by like just a ton of work stuff. That's like other things have to take a seat, but the circuit's not going anywhere. It's just like you're just going heavy on this one part of the circuit, you know.
And that's why I would say, yeah, to tell yourself you're not missing out nothing new. You're not missing out going to that party. You're not missing out doing this and that. You go, just keep with your
What are
circuit.
what are parties? I don't even.
They're still around. they
Let
still
Are
me
around.
they?
let me ask y'all let me ask y'all a question. I got to jump on a call, a Zoom in 15 minutes, but I do want to ask y'all a question before we jump out. Um, a question that people rarely ask. Okay, what's one thing to not do when you're on your creative journey? What's something that you figure is a bad idea when you're on
Binge
your
drugs.
creative journey? One more time.
Don't binge drugs. Don't go on
That
that
is
drug.
that is actually great advice. That's actually awesome advice for
Please
sure.
follow that.
For sure, 100%.
I would say for me, is that you got to give yourself grace to be able to take a step back and to think. Because if you're creating something too quick and you're doing too much work on it and without
Yeah,
stepping back, you're working in a vacuum. You need time to let it breathe and to think on it. Because the next day you might come back to it and be like, man, this is horrible.
right,
Like what was I thinking? Show it to someone else and they're like, this is horrible. You're like, you know what, you're right. Like I need to change this. So in any like creative endeavor, if you do not, I mean, you obviously create art for yourself and to do things for yourself, but at the end of the day, most creative endeavors are a collaborative process and you need to see what people think and get their opinion. It's okay. But I think, but for yourself is to take time, breaks, just take a step away back and think.
yeah,
Cause like you ever, I guess like an example would be like, say like there's like a big painting, I don't know, big Renaissance painting and you're a painter and someone says, hey, I want you to be in on this angel and I want you to like paint her hair. And then you paint the hair and you get so wrapped up in that part. But when you take a step back and you zoom out, look at the painting, it's like, man, this doesn't match anything. It's because you got so locked into something creatively that you lost all perspective. So in any type of like creative pursuit, whether it's writing, music, um, you know, any of these like creative endeavors, like you got to take a step back and give it time to breathe so you can actually think on it and to intellectualize it with debate with yourself or others. Uh, that's kind of like my advice on the creative spot because if you go, especially if you work in a vacuum or in a silo, and you're just working on your own stuff, and you think it's so great, it's like you should definitely take a step back, let some people else comment on it, and look at it, and give you some perspective to kind of help shape and be open to it, be open to
for sure,
criticism as well. Like
for sure.
man, like
1000.
what is it? There's a saying by Hemingway that I really really love. It's write drunk and edit sober. So in the
Mm,
creative process, go nuts, then
mm-hmm.
take a break, come back with a
Let's
sound
go.
mind. Yeah, and then the next step I would say, even one harsher is I forget who else said it. There was another like director or editor, but at some point it was like create in a feverish dream and then come back and edit it like a son of a bitch. Like
Mm,
go nuts on your creative. Cool. Take the hat off, put the other hat on, the producer hat, the executive hat, and just shred it. Shred
yeah,
it to pieces. And if you realize the dichotomy between who you are as an artist and like the critic, and then tearing it to pieces, you somehow meet in the middle, and you get a nice blend of the two. So that's another
right,
part of advice too. Is like write drunk, go back and edit sober, and get that's where the other perspectives and other people's opinions come in. And even if they don't matter, they might reinforce you might be like, oh, I definitely don't want to do what you're doing. I definitely like what I did. Or, you know what, they're right. I hate what I did. Let me start over. That's a good point. So being open to that is going to really like
Yeah, but that's
expand.
crazy. I mean, that's crazy, Austin. You're saying that because I always thought that mentality. I didn't know that was more of a like it was a phrase to that. The reason I'm saying that I used to DJ a lot in high school and college, and I'd be doing a lot of production too. So at some point, I used to just tell artists exactly what you say, which is crazy about like I didn't phrase it that way, write drunk and edit sober, but I would tell them like, look, I've done wedding photography, I've done all type of high school, college gigs, I've done all type
Mhm.
of corporate stuff. So when I'm saying when you're in different settings, I picked up that look. If you're like Mark Nasty, and you making some club music, it
Mhm.
might be more advantageous for Mark Nasty to be lit because his audience and viewers, they're gonna be lit when they're hearing and receiving it. I just didn't phrase it like that, how you just said it. I didn't know it was like a accepted thing. I was just like, like common sense, like, all right. And that's what I said about knowing when to have that self discernment. Like, all right, if you want to get fucked up and take a shot and smoke for this song, it's cool. But if you're waking up at 3 a.m. and 6 p.m. and 2 p.m., eh. But I do always say, at least for making the creation, so like you said, that marriage that between the artist and the audience, if you're on the same level that they're hearing it, it might be a more better marriage. So I really appreciate the gems you dropping. I wanted to go over
Here's
nobody's
the
head because I've
here's the
always
thing.
felt like that.
Here's the thing about it though, too. Um, well, and I know it's just a reference, but the drug part was a little heavier part because um, people do a lot of the music you have heard was because of the being under the influence, which is how they made that music.
Yeah.
But the flip side, though, is what happened to him after, and the side effects from that was
Hmm.
a whole other story. Wasn't as
Yeah.
beautiful as the song you heard, right?
Correct.
So, and for example, and there's a lot of people pushing stuff. They're not. For example, we remember when Future was said in an interview how he been quit lean, and they was like, "Yo, so why you making music about lean when you driving people to the maybe driving people to their hospital, or driving people to death, and you stop for health reasons?" Which that don't make sense. You know what I mean? But also, I think it's about letting loose, letting go. Let your brain experience places that it's never been before. Let it fly because you need that. We need that kind of these kind of ideas to flourish. And to your point is that the edit like you sober part is knowing when to pull back
Yeah.
and knowing how much you need to pull back
Yeah.
to give that balance and make
And that's
something
why,
great.
and sometimes, and here's the thing, dude, I'm so glad you said that because the hardest part is it's hard for you as an individual to pull back,
Hmm.
which is why you need to involve other people to help pull you back.
For
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. 1,000.
The
I,
most,
I do want
the
to
most,
say, I do want to
the most,
say, I'm going, well, I'm gonna
the,
give,
I
let
was
me
gonna
get my
say,
last,
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
going, what am I say? I'm gonna give my last thought about, what I say, my don't do, right? My thing is don't overthink.
Mm.
Um, don't overthink in the process of creating. Overthinking can do things like help you never start, right?
yeah,
Overthinking can take you out of your creative process
Yeah.
because you sometimes and for first timers, overthinking can kill something you never even done before. So
yeah,
so it's like you're overthinking about something you don't even know about. And even when it came to me me doing content, my camera was gifted to me to do videos, to do vlogs, because I expressed I wanted to do it.
Shout out to them.
When I I picked up the camera and started taking pictures, I started doing vlogs damn near a year and a half later because of I'm overthinking all the things I need. I need this kind of tripod. I need this backpack, and I need this for my camera. First of all, I don't know shit about cameras. All of a sudden, you know what you need to get going at that point in time. So
yeah.
you never want to
Yeah.
overthink because overthinking can kill the process before it even get going.
And that's
Um,
part of like that's the metaphor of like riding drunk. You know, you just go for it and then you edit
exactly.
Yeah.
sober. And
Yeah.
I was gonna
Yo,
say
man,
like the most romantic famous piece, the most famous piece of poetry ever written was by the Romantic period by the poet Coleridge, who wrote that poem called Kubla Khan. And he was
Okay.
high on opium when he wrote that, and it's the most famous piece of poetry of all time. Now, imagine if he had quite a drug addiction and tragic ending to his life, but imagine if he had a group of people that was involved with his life pulling
Yeah.
him back the reins right after that.
Right.
But
Right.
the problem is people have a hard time pulling the reins back themselves, which is why if you involve other people in your creative process, they can help pull the reins back and help ground you a little bit so you
Yep.
can have the freedom to flourish and have people kind of cut you back down to reality, and you'll find a nice medium there.
For
But you
sure.
got to be willing to also do that, though. But it was
Yeah.
good. It was good chatting with you guys. I appreciate it. It
Hey
was fun.
man, I want to say I appreciate the both of y'all for pulling up on me today, man. Hearing your voices, your creative process, and your advice. Tafashe, I do want to salute you also because, yo, your
Thank
transparency or your vulnerability to be honest and to be able to let your hair down in a safe space. I salute you on that because a
you.
lot of people don't have the necessary like the heart to do that. And the reason why I'm an advocate of being vulnerable and transparent is because I'm not doing it for me. I already lived it. I'm doing it for somebody else to help them be honest and be. That's why I speak my life on here like I do. I'm not embarrassed of it because I'm living it. And I want anybody to hear my voice to live a life way more plentiful and bountiful than my life is and ever was. So if you can learn anything from me, I'd rather you hear the truth come from me than me lying and steering you a whole different way. So I do salute you, my brother, and I appreciate you being honest and continue to be honest because I'm a believer that one, God answers prayers. If you
I
pray
share.
about it, your situation will change. Sometimes you sit. See, the myth is that people got the same. Which first of all, the Bible doesn't say this. People always say God will never give you something you can't handle. That's not true. It's not true. It is not biblical. The reason why God will give you something you can't handle is because that's how you build strength.
Okay.
You won't know how strong you are if you can handle everything. If you can handle it all, what's the point of something being a test, right? What's the
Right.
point of knowing that you look? I said this on a podcast yesterday, and I'll be transparent as much as I can be without bringing somebody else in. Right now, like now Austin knows this. Right now, and I'm saying it not for a guilt trip. It's just I'm being honest to show you what I mean by example. My life, by definition, to me, is in shambles right now, right? And how I even show up to do a podcast at 10 in the morning, knowing that once I power off, I go back into my head about the thing that's actually going on in my life. It's tough. It's tough.
Hear
But you
you.
know why I have to do it? Two reasons. Um, um, one, I will never be defeated, right? I have God on my side. I got God in my heart. So I understand that this is just a period in my life that will come to pass, right? So even in the midst of a storm, right, I will show up as sunshine, right? So and I also have to show people that are looking and listening that I remember Lucc saying his life was in shambles. And when it's time for me to when it's time for me for God to elevate me as I know He will, then I need you to also remember the times when I told you I was in shambles, or I told you about I was driving Uber and I was stressed out and I didn't know how I was going to make it, and I didn't know I was going to pay rent, and I didn't know I was going to do all these things, and I didn't know how I was going to make it, and people laughed and they were all these things people say, right? But I'm gonna be able to point you back to that, and then I'm gonna be able to point you to elevation and showing like, oh, that's what staying grateful was like in the midst of all that. That's what it looks like, right?
Yeah.
He didn't complain. It was what it was. It was life. I didn't complain. And I got to a level where I can look back at that and look at it as a lesson. Like, damn, I made it through that. So God will give you things you can't handle. You got to toughen up and get through it. And don't complain and be grateful, right? And always praise Him and show Him that you love Him regardless, because He's going to pull you through. He's going to stand you up taller than you ever stand. For those who haven't read the book of Job in the Bible. If you haven't read the book of Job, it's one of the most amazing stories in the Bible, one of my favorite. And Job went through the worst kind of things you can go through as a person, and God gave him everything back tenfold. It's a lesson in that too.
He's
So,
bring it.
Bashe and Austin, I appreciate y'all, man. I love y'all, good brothers. I pray that I pray that you're covered in your day, and I pray that you're always protected in your journeys, and may all your dreams come true. Keep going. I appreciate y'all For all the community, everybody who came through, Ghetto Cafe and Ed Likes Alike, thank y'all. I appreciate y'all for always showing up for your brother, always stand down, always holding me down, always with good words for me, and just spending time with me. I appreciate that daily. I love y'all, man, and this what homeroom this what homeroom is about. So thanks for kicking off the morning with your boy here at homeroom. If you enjoyed today's conversation, don't forget to like, subscribe, drop your thoughts in the comments. I love to hear from you. Until then, stay real, stay inspired. I'll see y'all next time. Peace.